Oh man, this is really good, dude. This is really good.
We're Liz and Dennis, full-time RVers on a mission to eat, see, and RV our way across North America. As we make our way back to Florida for the winter, we stop in the coastal town of Charleston, South Carolina. Getting a taste for the area's unique history, charming downtown, and amazing food.
We've definitely embraced the Southern cooking. It's so good.
Join us this week and see what Charleston is all about.
There's no better way to start your time in Charleston than getting freshly made biscuits for breakfast. We came just outside of Charleston city limits to come to Vicious Biscuits. This place is highly reviewed. There was a line pretty much out of the door when we got here, and it's Friday. I can't even imagine what this place is like on a weekend. And I can see why. Their biscuits are ginormous. They have so many different options to choose from. Dennis got one that has a maple sausage gravy, which is like their signature. It has pickled jalapenos, fried chicken, and then he has a jalapeno cheddar biscuit. I ended up going with fried chicken as well, but I have pimento cheese on mine, so Southern, with a hot sauce with honey and a fresh, like buttery, amazing biscuit. I'm so excited and ready to dig in. This looks great. It's so good. It's not spicy at all. I was expecting some more heat, but I love it. I love the crunchiness of the chicken, the smooth vibe of the pimento cheese, and that biscuit is amazing.
The maple sausage gravy is actually a little sweeter than I was expecting. But it's a nice balance with the pickled jalapenos and the cheddar jalapeno biscuit. I'm into it. I think I would have rather went your way. But I'm a sucker for pimento cheese. We're gonna have to split.
Yeah.
Oh, that was delicious. And it was a perfect way to get some fuel for the day because we are going to be jamming as much as we can into just a short 3 days here. And unfortunately, rain is in the forecast starting this evening throughout the entire weekend. So we're going to do our best to show you around Charleston, but also explore the history of Charleston. Because in order to appreciate the city that we see today, you have to acknowledge and accept where the city came from. Charleston's ties with slavery run deep. The Civil War began at Fort Sumter, and the port of Charleston is where as many as 40% of slaves sold to the 13 colonies were first brought from Africa, after being kidnapped and sold into slavery. West Africans in particular were brought to Charleston because they had the skills and knowledge for cultivating rice, the perfect cash crop for the low country of the southeastern coast. The unpaid work of enslaved people helped Charleston become the wealthiest city in the United States for close to a century, thanks to cotton, indigo, tobacco, and Carolina gold. A type of rice once harvested was worth its weight in gold. Visitors can glimpse into this side of Charleston's history by visiting one of the many plantations that surround the city, where the enslaved were forced to work and live in extremely harsh conditions. While it's easy to be swept away in the grandeur of the time, the beautiful avenue of oaks, or the impressive antebellum-style homes, life wasn't easy for everyone. Slaves were treated as property, being forced to wear dog tags, undergo beatings, rape, forced marriage, and terrible living conditions were just some of the horrors they faced. At Boone Plantation, we were able to learn about slavery in the South, as well as the Gullah Geechee community, which has ancestral lineage to the Angolan people brought from West Africa and remain an important part of South Carolina's culture today.
They took off the "and" and they used the word "gola" to take it from the word "gola" to the word "gullah." Please repeat after me. Angola.
Angola.
Gola.
Gola.
Gullah.
Gola.
Here's your chance to learn a little Gullah Geechee. Y'all ready? I'm cracking my tea all day. Y'all grinding tea. I ain't grinding no tea. Now, rice was planted on 2,500 acres of sharecropping area. Now, a little bit of brackish water and fresh water mix. They had a bridge to let the water in, bridge to let the water out. They had Pull the rice up to let them dry out. Put them in mounds to dry out. Umbrella over the top. Pull some out of there. Put in your pestle, your mortar, and beat it up. Get the hull, the shaft, and the sticky film from the rice. By the time you're finished, you need a basket about 10 sizes this size to pick that rice up in. Pick that rice up and hustle it in the wind. As you hustle it in the wind, the rice stayed in the basket. Everything else floated to the ground. By the time you was finished, I needed Chris's help to lift this 80 pounds of rice on top of my head. Had my baby tied to my back. My other children with the meat, the water, the wood, the vegetables, and anything else that I may have needed. In this time, I do not own a horse, a donkey, a cow, a mule to help me on my journey. But I have to walk 10, 15, even 20 miles because I have to do what I have to do. Whoa, I done what I had to do. Whoa, I done, whoa, I done, whoa, I done what I had to do. Told me to teach and I done that too. I done what I had to do. Told me to sing and I done that too. I done what I had to do.
We chose Boone Hall specifically because it did teach about what was happening to the enslaved people during that time rather than just focusing on the grounds here. But going from where they lived to see what it would have been like to be an enslaved person here to then getting a tour of the inside of the house. We weren't allowed to do any photography or filming there. It's hard to witness the prosperity that the plantation owners were able to live with off of enslaved work. Please, when you come, remember to be humbled and be aware of what had to happen for that pretty house to exist, and realize that you're standing in an area where people had to fight and that were most likely raped, beaten, killed, separated from their loved ones in order to have that pretty house be there. So be humbled, be respectful, and make sure to take in the experience for all that it is, not just what's easy to appreciate. And now nothing will feel appropriate after experiencing this, but we do have to continue our adventures in Charleston. The rain has finally come, and I think it's sticking with us for the rest of our time, so I think we're gonna go try and find a place in town to grab a snack and hopefully show you around a little bit of the historic center of Charleston.
Oyster Bar is also a very popular thing to do in Charleston. There are oyster bars everywhere. Being so close to the Atlantic Ocean, it's obvious why that would be. There's oysters, abundant, off the coast of South Carolina, Virginia, North Carolina. So we ended up coming to Leon's Oyster Bar, which is inside of an old gas station, and the vibe in here is amazing. It's so cozy. They have lights hanging on the roof. There's this fireplace, and it's just so warm and inviting right now, because it's very cold outside. We ended up getting the char-grilled oysters, which have butter, Parmesan cheese, parsley, chives melted on top of the oysters. They look so good. We also got 8 raw oysters, which are from 2 different locations off South Carolina's coast. But this place is clearly very popular, so come early if you want to beat the crowd. I don't think there's reservations here. Okay, I'm ready. I think we're supposed to put it on the toast. Ooh, it was not graceful. I want all of that Parmesan goodness. I want to try it on its own though, so I can get the oyster. But the Parmesan cheese is so good.
That was not a graceful bite. I thought I had sliced it off of the shell completely, but obviously I did not. That was a really good oyster. Super briny. That was the thing. We had a choice between 2 South Carolina picks or 1 from Virginia. Bartender said the 2 from South Carolina are way more briny, and I usually tend to go for a saltier oyster, so actually really good. We're here for one's where it's at.
The weather outside is frightful. Rodney Scott's is so delightful.
Day 2 of our food adventures in Charleston begin. And I'll tell you what, it is a doozy outside today. There's like sideways rain. There's huge gusts of wind. It's not a very pleasant day. So we're just going to stay inside and eat from place to place.
We're going to stay warm and keep our bellies full.
Yes. And our first stop is at Rodney Scott's Barbecue. He's famous for his whole hog. He does it in the South Carolina way, meaning his sauces and how he cooks it come from the Southern tradition. Here in South Carolina, vinegar-based sauces, and it is world-renowned. Pretty sure we learned about Rodney Scott on Chef's Table Barbecue. It's an awesome show if you haven't watched it. We're not normally barbecue eaters, but I'm pretty ready for this, just to get down on a whole plate of meat. I also caved and got hush puppies and mac and cheese. Carbs on carbs on carbs today. Oh, and Dennis got pork skins.
Dude, the best pork skins I've ever eaten. I ate half the bag.
So I think we're in for a treat. If you are looking for Texas-style barbecue, there's also a highly recommended restaurant, Lewis, around the corner. Kind of compete with each other, but we've heard they're both just as amazing as the other.
Coleslaw, that's me. Mac and cheese, that's you. Baked beans, me. This is probably the whole hog plate, I would imagine. This brisket looks amazing. The pork looks good too. I've had whole hog before, so I know it's gonna be mind-blowing, but I'm a sucker for brisket, and this brisket looks banging. It melts in your mouth. It's got a really nice crust on it. This is where a lot of brisket smokers go wrong.
This is like Southern comfort mac and cheese. You got the crispy cheddar on top, but the creaminess of the cheese. Oh. So good.
This is probably the restaurant I've been the most excited to dine at. First come, first serve only. They open at 5. We did not get here when they opened right away, so we ended up having to wait until 9:15 to be sat to eat. But we came to Chubby Fish. They specialize in seafood. They have a super creative, fun menu, kind of like small shareable plates. We ended up getting 4 dishes, and everything looks amazing. We're sitting right next to the chef's counter, and it's really fun just to watch them making all the dishes. Everything looks so good. I keep seeing all these other dishes, and I'm getting like dish envy that we don't have enough space in our stomachs to eat all of the things.
Oh, we got space.
We are in for a treat. Our next dish is the bone marrow that they put spicy shrimp on top of with jalapenos and cilantro. So you're gonna spread the bone marrow on the bread like butter and then put the shrimp back on top. This is house-made bread too. Everything they do here is like so good.
How spicy is it?
The shrimp's pretty spicy.
That's how you know it's good, when Liz starts dancing.
Cacio e pepe cauliflower with a poblano sauce.
Ooh, girl.
Cacio e pepe is like pepper parmesan, heavenly goodness. Normally pasta, but this is over cauliflower. It's beautiful. I think we got a big dish ahead of us, which is the tilefish curry. It's made with like peanuts. It's a green curry sauce with Thai basil and mint. Ooh, that's good. Salty, spicy. Fish is smoked over hickory, so you get a like really nice smoky flavor in there as well. Super unique. Everything here has been fantastic. Honestly, by far the best meal we've had in Charleston. If you have one meal you get to go to during your time, Chubby Fish. Fatty cake. It's like a grown-up oatmeal pie. I used to get down on these Little Debbie's oatmeal pies when I was a kid. If I went to lunch at school and didn't have one of these in my lunchbox,
Forget it.
it's not a good day.
Forget it.
But they use mascarpone for their inside, and she has like a molasses ginger cookie on the outside. Brings back memories.
Oh no, I don't think I ever ate a Little Debbie's. Yeah. Wow. That's really good.
See what you were missing your whole life?
I'm glad I was missing my whole life.
Oh my God.
It'd be way bigger than I ever was.
The sun is out, and that finally means that we get to get outside to explore more of Charleston. A lot of what most first-time visitors want to do when they come to the city is walk around the historic center. They've kind of named this area the French Quarter, and it's known for its well-preserved historic buildings that date back to the 1700s, the beautiful colonial-styled homes that run all along the streets here. There's lots of different plazas and markets that you can visit as well. So our plan for the day is just to kind of walk around, take in as much of the history and charm of the historic part of Charleston.
European settlers arrived to the original lands of the Siouan tribes in the 1670s, quickly building Charlestown into one of the biggest new seaports. The city was originally fortified to help protect it from pirates, but after piracy slowed in the early 1700s, the wall was torn down. Visitors today can see a small remnant of the original wall on Bay Street near Rainbow Row, a famous row of homes brightly painted in pastel colors and a super popular spot for photographs. From there, we walked toward Battery Park, which once held artillery battery during the Civil War. The seawall and promenade overlooks Fort Sumter along the harbor and is lined with huge antebellum-style mansions that date back to the early 1800s. Everywhere we walked in the historic center seemed to have so much history and character, from the cobblestone streets to the churches and cemeteries, and we even passed the oldest home, which dates back to 1712.
If you're into history, you have the option of taking a horse and carriage ride historic tour. There's also tons of different companies doing walking tours all through the historic town. We've been slowly listening in to hear fun facts about all the things we're seeing. So if you are a history buff, I do highly recommend it. You're always going to learn so much cool and unique information that you won't find online. But we just didn't have time for it this go around. We'll be back in Charleston though, don't worry.
We made a quick stop at City Market, a public market that's been a popular spot since the mid-1800s to buy goods and food before passing by the old Slave Market Museum. The museum is housed inside one of the several marts located around Charleston that was used for selling slaves before slavery was abolished in 1865. Unfortunately, it was closed during our visit, but we've heard it is an absolute must during your visit to Charleston.
A big part of what makes Charleston special is its coast. Because it's right on the ocean, you have great seafood, there's lots of beautiful beaches to explore, and its low country vibe just adds a whole element of beauty that it's really you don't see elsewhere. We haven't shown you that side of Charleston because the weather has not been on our side. When you have gale force winds, a bunch of rain, and it's like 49 degrees out, the last place you want to be is the beach. But hopefully if you are coming here, spring, summer, fall, the weather should be better. And hopefully you can enjoy some of its beautiful beaches, some of those small little beach towns that are surrounding the area of Charleston. We have heard from several locals that Folly Beach in particular is a really cool spot to check out. I think it would be an especially cool place to hang out in the summer. We ended up coming to a park that is famous for its pineapple fountain. Unfortunately, the fountain isn't on, but it's still a very beautiful spot to watch the sunset. There's so much more we would have loved to see. Walking down all of those different little alleys and side streets it's just so charming. I could get lost here for weeks.
We came to 82 Queen for our last meal, but we couldn't get a spot at the restaurant. They were fully booked. We've heard this is a really great restaurant. I think one of you here in the YouTube comments, when you heard that we were coming to Charleston, told us to come here and get the she crab soup. I'm assuming there's crab in it. I don't know what else is in it, but it looks very creamy and delicious. It smells so rich and lovely, especially on today's cold day. We also got an appetizer of the shrimp and grits, which are barbecue shrimp and grits with bacon on top and cheese. I mean, you cannot go wrong with that. Definitely embrace the Southern cooking, shot all of our dietary things out of the door. Let's just eat all the bacon.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful day. The weather has totally turned. It is sunny and in the 70s, and I am loving it. After a very crazy weekend and a long time in a place with cold weather, this is just what we were hoping for when we were coming to Charleston. But sadly, we're leaving today. Thankfully, we're going to one of the barrier islands just outside of Charleston, so we'll be able to enjoy all of this weather and the beautiful beaches more. So stay tuned for that. Now would be a reminder, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe to our channel so you can see all of our fun adventures to come in South Carolina. We hope you enjoyed this video and getting to see a little bit about what to eat and do in Charleston if you're planning your own trip. If you're curious as to where we camped, since we are traveling in an RV, for all of our RV friends out there, join our Patreon. We're not going to be sharing our camping adventures in Charleston. This week wasn't exactly the smoothest experience we've ever had as RVers. Not our proudest moment.
But yeah, our patrons get in on that inside scoop. So if you're interested in becoming a patron, we'll have a link to that below. Thanks for traveling with us. See you next week. Bye.
We are gonna get so fat on this trip.
What are you talking about? I'm already fat.
We're definitely not working toward our goal of losing weight, coming to all these great foodie towns.
I've given up.